a good thing.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thanks, sir.
Boo.
Are you gonna make it?
I can see what's at home.
Yeah, fine. All right. So they'll be starting the meeting in a few minutes, go through safety opening, and then they'll go right to the executive session. So, thank you for that.
Hey, hello.
Hey, William.
How you been doing?
Guys, get off the seat.
Huh?
I said, I'm guessing everyone can see me.
Yeah.
You can't see us?
I can, but I just look, you guys look a little further away, and I might look to you.
Oh.
Yeah, I can only see Ware, Terry, and Mr. Carpenter.
Looking good, looking good.
Well, hey, you got the most
That's
important
right, the
ones,
most
hey.
important ones.
That's right.
Do a little,
Ooh. You might want to
Hey.
let Barbara say hello or give her this
Yeah.
America wave or something.
Barbara wants to
Barbara
make
want to
sure
zoom
she
in a
says
little bit.
hey.
You might want to turn it over that way.
Barbara, get up from your chair and come up and wave to him. Huh?
Barbara used to just.
Huh?
What do you say?
bring it to Mr. Carpenter's side. I can't see it.
See?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Wait, Barbara.
Okay. Hey, William.
Yeah, he just got in also.
All right.
And you said pledge, not. I meant to ask somebody else, but I forgot.
Hey, Dave.
Hey.
Thank you.
How are you? It's been a minute.
Gosh, this thing's slow. I'm having a time bringing mine up.
Really?
There it
Came right
goes.
up.
Yes.
Lord, I hadn't even tried. I guess I'm gonna try it now.
Spartina. Spartina. Spartina.
Oh, pretty. I love that.
They have lots of designs too that are really
That is too cute. That's cute stuff. Spartina.
They've been running a little math thing on Facebook, and they asked this little boy, 25 years old. They asked him if he had $1, 2 dimes, and a penny. How much money does he have? He said it doesn't matter because I'm still gonna be broke.
That's true. He's so crazy.
But he did say $1.21.
Yeah, 121. Yeah.
Uh,
$1, 2 dimes, just I'm still gonna be broke. Yeah.
All right, it's 6:30. I call this meeting to order. Ms. Wilson, do I have confirmation of media? Okay. I declare a quorum. We have perfect attendance. And I have a request to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, show of hands. Ayes, thank you. Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting tonight, and good to see everybody again. And Mr. Carpenter, if you'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Salute. Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Be seated.
All right. Do I have a request to enter into executive session for personnel matters?
So move to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
All right.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, show of hands. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Chairman Bell, I would like to request that Ms. Madden remain.
But I finally found that one. Opened all the drawers. Finally found that.
It's a small one, must be a juice cup.
That was in with fancy plates. Who was that?
I guess Lisa and Jody.
Did anybody tell him?
I hope so.
Oh, do they, oh. Okay, he's calling. Stop coming. To what? No, I'm just saying that. Oh, there they are.
We ready? Everybody in that's supposed to be here. All right, we'll reconvene in open session after executive session. There is no board action required on our executive session meeting. So next thing on the agenda is to request for approval of the minutes for August the 24th and the workshop on August the 25th. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion, any changes? All right, all show of hands, all in favor? Ayes have it. Okay, we'll move right into the superintendent's report.
Okay. Good evening, Chairman Bell and members of the board. I'm excited to share information and updates on happenings in Lawrence 55. It's hard to believe that we are in our 4th week of the 2020-2021 school year. This, of course, is not how any of us imagined or desired to kick off the new year. I know that there's not anything that's easy about a global pandemic. But I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you. I'm thankful for our school board, our teachers, and I cannot say enough as far as thank you to our teachers for all of their hard work and for remaining positive through it all. I'm thankful for our administrators, our staff, our district administrators, the technology department, transportation department, food service department, maintenance department, parents and guardians, and last but not least, our students. Thank you all for going above and beyond in these less than ideal times. It is with great joy that I say that we're able to have our students in the buildings face to face. It has been wonderful being able to visit classrooms and being able to see our students and our teachers provide the instruction for teachers, for students. We are currently operating in the hybrid model and we are currently still in the hybrid model for this week, with our students attending face-to-face 2 days a week. So it's just been very great to be able to have the excitement and the joy of having our students back in our buildings and in our classrooms, and just to see the smiles and the excitement from the teachers as well as the students. Some of the items that I am going to share this evening were included in the board's last newsletter. However, I want to ensure that the community is also aware of some of the information. Our drive-through supply drive pickup was on August the 28th. It went very well, and it was a success as well. We were also excited to be able to see our families as they participated in this event. We distributed over 400 backpacks containing school supplies. The additional supplies are being sent to the schools for distribution. So we've sent those to the school counselors, and they are going to distribute those to our students who may need those as well. The Student and Nutrition Services distributed apples and hand sanitizers. So the students were coming through the line eating their apples as they received their backpacks. So it was a great experience and great to see the families participate in this as well. So again, we do have some additional backpacks and supplies that are available at the schools for our students, and the school counselors have those available for distribution. In addition, Ford Elementary School has again received a grant through the South Carolina Department of Education's Fresh Fruits and Vegetables program. The $7,500 grant will provide students with a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables throughout the school year. So we're very excited to be able to have this opportunity again for Ford Elementary School. The goals of this program include creating healthier school environments, increasing students' consumption of fruits and vegetables, and making a difference in students' diets that impact their current and future health. The fruits and vegetables will be distributed during the school day and or with curbside meal pickup based on the learning phase that's in place. So we're very excited to be able to continue with being able to offer the fresh fruits and vegetables at Ford Elementary School. I am also very happy to report that we've received approval to continue providing curbside meals to anyone in the community 18 years of age or younger through December the 31st of 2020. Our Student Nutrition Services Department has gone above and beyond to continue providing healthy meals for the young people in our community throughout these past several months. Ms. Knight reported to me today that we are currently providing approximately 8,000 meals per day. This includes meals that are being sent home with students on Tuesday and Friday, based upon their attendance days during the hybrid learning phase, as well as those meals that are being provided curbside to our virtual learners. Mr. Bill Finley and our technology department staff are working tirelessly to address the needs of our students and our staff. The teacher conferencing issues that we have experienced in our district are not specific to Lawrence 55, so we do know that this is something that other districts are dealing with as well and are in the same situation. However, we are currently making adjustments and purchases that will help with live streaming and provide enhanced services. As far as our hotspots, we do still have hotspots available. There's been 274 hotspots provided to families in the district thus far. 270 of those are the ones provided by the state. 4 of those are the district provided hotspots. So again, there are still hotspots available. So if there are families that are in need, please contact your school or contact the district office, The application is still up on the district's website, and it can also be obtained from any school or here at the district office. I would also like to share information regarding our SAT and our AP scores for the 2019-2020 school year. The average SAT score for Lawrence 55 students was 950, with a 488 in the evidence-based reading and writing component, and a 462 in the Math College Readiness benchmarks. This was a 17-point increase over the 2018-2019 average score of 933, with a 474 in the evidence-based reading and writing component, and a 459 in the math component. So we're very excited about having that increase of the 17-point increase in those scores. In addition, the percent of our students passing on the advanced placement exam with a score of 3 or higher increased as well. On AP exams, 43.8% of students who took the exams in 2019-2020 scored a 3 or more. We have 43.8% for last year that scored 3 or higher, and then in 2018-2019, 40.4% of the students who took the exams scored a 3 or higher. So we're looking forward for continued improvements and continued increases across the board in all areas. So we're definitely appreciative of those increases, but we want to continue to see the increases as well. In addition, the district has received 5 Innovative Arts Works grants in the amount of $4,000 each. Grants awarded include the following. Ford Elementary School received the Elementary Visual Arts Showcase and Digital Gallery. Gray Court Owens School, Middle School Orchestra Instruction and Performance. Lawrence District 55 High School, Improving High School Orchestra Instruction and Performance. Lawrence Middle School Visual Arts Presentation Showcase. And Sanders Middle School Strings Instruction and Performance. We shared information about attendance recently. And although our students may be attending in the hybrid model currently or in the Lawrence County Virtual Academy, daily attendance is still essential. There's information that is provided on our website with our attendance guidelines if there are any questions about the attendance. And as it relates to our academic expectations, our teachers are working very hard to ensure high quality instruction for our students. So it is crucial for students to complete all assigned work to engage, as well as engage in the lessons and activities. We urge any parents who may have any concerns regarding the assignments or the lessons, or if their child may need additional support, to please contact the child's teacher or the school administrator as soon as possible. As it relates to the reopening plan, the health, safety, and well-being of our staff and students remain our top priority as we continue to rely on the research, data, science from our health professionals. We just completed our first week of in-person instruction, operated in the hybrid phase. And again, it was just great to see the excitement of the teachers and the students in the classrooms. We currently have approximately 1,900 students enrolled in the virtual academy. As a parent, a former teacher, a former building level administrator, I do understand and currently experience. I also recognize that times during this pandemic are very challenging, and they have been since the school closures when all this started with the pandemic back in the spring in March. So we are all very eager to get to as much normalcy as possible, or as we possibly can during a global pandemic. Students being back in school face-to-face this week in the hybrid model was definitely a step closer to that goal. As stated many times since our reopening plan was introduced this past summer and even this spring, our ultimate goal has been for students to return to the classroom full-time as soon as it is safe to do so. We recently had a conference with the State Department of Education regarding our reopening plan. They were pleased with our progress. They stated that we're making adequate progress, and they commended us on following the safety protocols. We do realize, however, that this year is like no other. We will be making changes as necessary, and we appreciate the community's patience as we navigate the reopening of Lawrence 55. I would like to thank the staff and the parents for their feedback on the recent surveys. We definitely hear all of the concerns, and we truly value the feedback and the input. I've studied the data from these surveys, and I have read every single comment as well. So these comments range from probably one extreme to the other extreme as far as what the different constituents would like to see happen. So for our parent survey, we have a total of 3,361 total households in our district. And we had a total of 1,976 parents complete the survey. The survey was sent out in both English and Spanish. It was sent out multiple times to try to get input from households who had not yet responded. So we were careful not to duplicate, but we sent those out to those that we did not have a response for. Some of the parents called the office if they were not able to participate in the survey to provide their responses as well. And we will continue throughout this process to work to get feedback from all constituents.
Can
Some
I
of
ask
the
a question right there? On the surveys, do we know that if they were just individually answered, or do we know if some of the same people answered the survey multiple times on the completed surveys?
They were not able to answer multiple times.
Okay.
Yes. So the phone calls only went out to families who had not responded, and then the survey, as far as the staff, it was set to not allow multiple responses.
Okay, thanks.
Some of the questions from the parent survey was, do you have internet service in your home? 90.70% of the parents answered yes to having internet service at home, while 9.3% said that they did not have internet service. So I've spoken to the school administrators to continue to reach out to those families to try to identify if we need to provide some hotspots or some type of support to those families who do not have internet service currently. So we're in the process of trying to identify which families still need support in this area. The next question on that survey was, do you feel comfortable with sending students back 5 days a week for face-to-face instruction with little or no social distancing? 61.7% said yes, they do feel comfortable with sending students back 5 days a week for face-to-face instruction with little to no social distancing. 38.3% said no, that they do not feel comfortable with sending students back 5 days a week for face-to-face instruction with little or no social distancing. The next question asked, do you feel comfortable sending your child back to face-to-face instruction when community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category? 37.9% said yes, they do feel comfortable sending their child back to school for face-to-face instruction when community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category, with 62.1% saying that they do not feel comfortable sending their child back to school for face-to-face instruction when community spread levels are ranked as high risk. And then the last question was, considering the current public health pandemic, which learning option do you prefer? 23% said hybrid, 28.4% said e-learning, and 48.6% said 5 days face-to-face. So again, a thank you to our parents for taking the time to complete the survey, and we do value your input and feedback. The staff also completed a survey. We had 405 surveys completed. These surveys were anonymous. And we have a total of 734 staff. Not everyone left comments. That was optional. And the results of the staff survey include the question, do you feel comfortable with students coming back face-to-face for 5 days a week with mask requirements in place, although space may not permit for social distancing? And we have that 41% feel comfortable returning to 5 days a week face-to-face instruction, even if social distancing is not possible. 59% do not feel comfortable returning to face-to-face instruction if social distancing is not possible. The next question was, do you feel comfortable with students coming back for face-to-face instruction in the hybrid model, which would include smaller class sizes allowing for social distancing when our community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category? 64.2% of the staff said yes to feeling comfortable coming back to face-to-face instruction during the hybrid model when social distancing is possible, even when the community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category. 35.8% of the staff said that they do not feel comfortable returning to face-to-face instruction under the hybrid model when our community spread levels are ranked in high risk. The next question was, do you feel comfortable with students coming back for face-to-face instruction for 5 days a week with all students when social distancing may not be possible, also when our community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category? 29.1% of staff said that yes, they do feel comfortable with all students coming back for face-to-face instruction when community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category. 70.9% of the staff said that they do not feel comfortable with students coming back for face-to-face instruction when community spread levels are ranked in the high-risk category. And the final question was, we're all eager to return to normalcy. In the midst of the current public health pandemic, which learning option do you feel most comfortable? 51.9% of the staff said the hybrid model, face-to-face with smaller class sizes and social distancing. 28.4% of the staff said that they preferred 5 days a week face-to-face with all students with little or no social distancing. And 19.8% of the staff said all e-learning. So I would like to, Chairman Bell and members of the board, to make a recommendation as to how we could move forward. I would like to make the recommendation to remain in the hybrid learning phase unless we move to the green, low-risk category of 5 days a week face-to-face. And then we would move accordingly to that level. I would also like to recommend that we utilize the DHEC guidance for flu outbreak to determine when classrooms and schools will need to shut down regarding positive COVID cases. So that would include 20% of a classroom or group would require that the classroom or the group would shut down, and students would transition to e-learning for 2 weeks. At the end of those 2 weeks, the classroom or group will return. In addition, 10% of a school population, this would include students and staff. If we have 10% of the school population with positive cases, then the school building would close. All students and staff in the school will transition to e-learning for 2 weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, the district or the school will re-examine positive COVID cases for the school. If the cases are still above 10%, the school will continue e-learning and be reevaluated every 2 weeks. If cases are below 10%, the school population would return. These are the same guidelines that are currently in place for the flu. We would have the 20% and the 10%. Those are the figures, the percentages that are currently used when we're looking at flu outbreak. And so that would be the recommendation to also use those same guidelines for COVID-19 as well.
Can I ask a question
Mhm.
before we move forward? On the first item there about remain in the hybrid unless we move to green. So are we saying then we're not gonna do anything with red phase? We're gonna eliminate the red phase altogether?
With the fact that we're able to keep social distancing in place, we do feel comfortable to be able to have our students in the building during those times as well, because we are able to maintain the social distancing. So yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so if it went to green, then that would be a week later that we would transition to green? Or would that be, I mean, the way that we're doing it now, like that, are we gonna be looking at the same report? I know you received the information back from the DHEC gentleman today stating that we are to continue using that report.
Yes, ma'am.
So is that the report that you're saying that we would continue to use to make that decision on, and that it would be then the following week like we're doing now when we would move into that phase?
Correct. It would be my recommendation to continue to use the data that we've been using according to DHEC and the State Department. That is the data that has been created for schools and child care facilities. So it would be the recommendation to continue to use that data. And of course, there's been recent information that they've actually changed the date of releasing the report from Monday to Thursdays now. So as of now, we will be receiving that information on Thursdays versus
great.
on Mondays.
That's great. So we would know before
Yes,
The
a week
beginning of the
starts.
week.
Well, that's great. That helps tremendously.
I like the recommendation.
So, when we're looking at the hybrid, right now, the special ed students, they're going 5 days a week regardless, correct?
correct.
Okay. And is that all special ed students?
That was
Currently, we have our self-contained special ed students that are attending 5 days a week, as well as our high school credential students, special education students who are attending 5 days a week.
So regardless, that, they would stay 5 days a week. Nothing about that changes. They're gonna stay 5 days a week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else that would
Oh,
be
thank
5
you,
days?
partners.
Yes, I would like to recommend that we bring our 5K and first
Yeah.
grade students back
See, kindergartners.
face-to-face 5 days a week. We do understand the importance of our early childhood education, but not only that, we have gone back to look at numbers and to measure classrooms. And so these are the 2 grade levels at this point in the district that we're able to bring back 5 days a week and maintain social distancing as well. We will have to make some adjustments, so we will have to move some furniture around, possibly move classrooms in some cases, and possibly also move teachers in order to make this happen. But currently, these are the only 2 grade levels that we can successfully social distance across the district. We may have some situations where at one school we're able to do things, but as far as district-wide right now, we're able to make it happen to bring back our 5K and first grade students across the district with being able to make these adjustments.
What about 4K?
They would remain on hybrid. We also looked at those numbers as well. We really ran into, especially when we're looking at primary Montessori, because those classes would have 4K and 5K. So we have not been able to work out at this point with bringing in all of our 4K, just making the numbers work, because we would have too many students in the classroom to be able to social distance across the board. So we're still looking at that and seeing how we can modify and bring those students in as well. But we wanted to see where we could start and where it would work, where we're able to maintain the social distance. And right now, we're not able to make that happen with also bringing the 4K students back in. We do have, when we're looking at, and currently, you mentioned the special education students. So we do have our self-contained students. I like for them to continue to attend face-to-face 5 days a week, as well as the special ed high school credential students. But I would also like to request the flexibility and authority to make any adjustments to the phasing of additional grade levels that we may be able to accommodate between now and the next board meeting. So I think just as we're working through, looking at numbers, getting additional equipment, that by having the flexibility to be able to bring in additional grade levels as we are able to do that
Gradually.
safely
Yeah.
between now and the next board meeting, if just having that flexibility would definitely be a great service for us to be able to do that without having to.
Like to include
have
younger,
additional-
other grades like second, third, fourth,
Yes,
as a
ma'am.
gradual increase over time,
Yes, ma'am.
safely?
So we are
Social
currently.
distancing.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
We are currently awaiting, we've placed an order through the State Department, so we're currently awaiting additional plexiglass dividers and PPE equipment from the State Department. We did receive confirmation that those items have been ordered. And so hopefully by having some additional plexiglass, that will allow us to be able to help accommodate additional grade levels as well. So we will continue to evaluate just different opportunities to phase in additional grade levels once we have the plexiglass on hand, to be able to provide that additional protection for our students. Just based on the DHEC recommendations, the plexiglass is another added layer of protection and support. Although, if there is a positive case, it does not necessarily exempt the students from being quarantined if they were in the classroom or in contact with the students. So although the recommendations from DHEC is that it does provide that additional protection, There still could be a possibility that if there's a positive case, that the students that are near that student would have to still quarantine.
Dr. Thomas, you mentioned the DHEC data and still using the same document that we've been using up until now. With the red phase going away, you really would only be using that document to determine if we went back to the green phase. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's another group of students that I think need to be in class 5 days a week, and that is the ESOL students. I've heard from just multiple sources that they're very much struggling, and even some at the high school having to just say, I can't even take classes anymore because I've got to help my younger siblings. So I think that's an area that needs attention, and those students need to be in the classroom.
I agree. When we looked at the numbers, it was not a group at this point that we were able to safely bring back, but it is definitely something that is a priority and that is on the radar as far as we're looking at the data and the numbers. We're looking at our EL students as far as really kind of a priority, as well as our elementary students. And we're also looking at some opportunities for possibly with Kate as well. But I agree, that is definitely a group that we want to bring in for 5 days a week. Looking at the numbers and the data, it was not something that we were able to do safely at this point.
I also think based on the feedback that we got on the surveys, you had almost 62% of parents say, if I'm reading the right one, say that they're comfortable sending their students back face-to-face 5 days a week with little or no social distancing. We've sent out several surveys now, and quite frankly, I'm not sure why we send them out, because I don't think we follow them. We don't do anything with them. We just look at them. And the parents, I think, have spoken, and they want their children back in school 5 days a week. You've put in safety measures. We know social distancing won't be possible in all situations, but I still think it's important for our kids to get back in school.
And I agree. I don't think, I mean, all of us want our students in school 5 days a week. So.
But I think that's something that we need to do now.
Amen.
I don't think we need to wait
We
2
don't.
months down the road or after
We've
the
waited
first
too long
semester.
already.
I think we need to get them in class. I mean, we've got counties around us. I mean, some districts in Spartanburg, Greenwood, Clinton, Lawrence Academy,
Anderson's wide open.
Abbeville, all of our daycares are open. The school district ourselves are probably housing about 200 students either at Gray Court, Hickory Tavern, the Y, or here in this building. So we've got to help our parents. We've got to get these kids back in school. And I just think that's where we sit. And Terry, I know you want these kids back in school 5 days a week too. It was the very first thing you said when we walked in the last meeting.
I do.
I know.
think we all
Listen,
want that.
We all want it
but
safely.
we need it now. We can't
we all do.
sit
Well,
here
let's vote
and
that we
wait.
go back 5 days a week.
I think the thing
Yeah, we
that,
can't wait
I
and
think
work on these reports
you're
anymore.
bringing up the survey. The parents also stated in there that a majority of them also stated they didn't feel comfortable sending their students back face-to-face if it was in a high-risk category. And then you look at the survey and you look at our employees.
Well,
And
here's
we've
what I'm
got
going to say about both of
70%
those.
of our employees.
The
Wait
originals-
just a minute, I'll let you.
Okay.
I'll let you say yours. We've got almost 70% of our employees that are saying they don't feel comfortable. That's who we're paying to teach our children. I understand that we
understand
have
that.
parents. We have half of the parents that even completed this survey in this district. I mean, I want them in the school 5 days a week as well. And it's just like the surrounding counties, like you mentioned, even when we bring up, people keep throwing up Greenville, Nobody wanted us to be Greenville until we're doing something that Greenville's not doing. You know, everybody kept saying, oh, we're not Greenville. Well, no, we're not Greenville. And, but even Greenville is phasing it in with the days and the grades that they're bringing the kids back. And, you know, I want them in there just as bad as you want them in there. But here's what I feel inside of me. Here's what I feel inside of me. I can deal with a parent being upset at me and being mad at me and being frustrated with me and being angry with me a lot easier than I can handle standing in front of a parent and having to look at them that has lost a child.
Well,
or
I
a
have no
staff-
intentions for us losing
why you-
children.
But if I make a decision,
But that decision that you're making, it's just to allow the student to go into the building.
it's
If the
allowing
parent-
all of the
If
students
a
to
parent
Open
is
back
that
up virtual.
concerned, then they can go into
And
the
then let's go
virtual.
scoop out
And
everywhere.
That
going
do-
back
that's
to
not
your
allowed to all
original,
of them. They would have taken that option to begin with.
if they wanted that option, they would have taken it to begin with. That's
Yes.
right. I'm going back to what I was originally going to say,
Yes.
and that is the teachers and parents had the choice to go virtual if they were scared of this virus.
Yes, they
or had
did.
some kind of issue.
Well, I will
did.
say that
Well,
we
right
had
now-
some teachers that requested to be virtual or remote
Just
that we were not
because.
able to honor. So we did have some teachers that because of some reasons, they wanted to be remote and they requested it, but because of certifications, grade levels, things of that nature, we were not able to honor that request.
We are here in this district because of the parents and the students. The teachers are being paid because these parents live in this district and their students are going here. If they up and move their students out, that's money out of our district, which we've already seen that's happened. Other counties are doing this safely. We can get our kids back in school. I mean, Greenwood and Clinton have been going from day one. I mean, our kids need to be back in school.
I agree
Amen.
with that.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Mr.
put them
Chairman.
back
Can I
in
make a
there.
motion that we
Mr.
have a
Chairman,
vote?
Mr. Chairman, can I move to a point of personal privilege, please? If you don't mind, I have something, I've had some burning issues on my heart, and I just want to read what I've written, because I do feel like it needs to be said, if you don't mind. To my fellow trustees here at Lawrence 55 School Board, as it relates to the national pandemic we are experiencing as the leading governing body of our school district, I firmly believe that I have done what was and what still is in the best interest of all of our students and staff. I also feel that our district administration is committed to providing our families with more face-to-face learning options as soon as it is safe to do so. For 28 years, I have served on the Lawrence County School District Board of Trustees. During this time, I've worked with 4, and Dr. Thomas is the 5th superintendent, and of course, several different trustees. I can honestly say we have never faced any other situation comparable to what we are currently facing now. In these times of uncertainty as a collective board, if you don't mind, pass that around.
They did.
Okay. In these times of uncertainty as a collective board, we have failed to be supportive of each other, supportive of our district administration, and supportive of the communities we represent. Although we are 7 different individuals, let me remind you that we took the oath of office. We are committed to abiding by these 14 ethical principles that I passed around. Yet, through some of our recent actions, we have failed to hold fast to this commitment. Please take a moment to review these 14 ethical principles. These principles have nothing to do with our personal political views, our personal beliefs, or personal agendas. They have everything to do with what is in the best interest of the children of which we are charged to serve. Fellow trustees, I thought tonight I feel compelled to remind each of us of our purpose for serving on this board. This is a board and not a one-man show. No one person other than the chair should speak on behalf of the board. The very first principle here reminds us to represent the interests of the entire district when making decisions and to rely on available facts and on our own judgment rather than on individuals or special interest groups. Upon reflecting over some of our most recent actions, I feel compelled to ask, who have we been listening to? The vocal minority or the silent majority? A few other principles here that I feel compelled to point out is to take no individual action which will compromise the integrity of the board or administration and to support employment of the persons best qualified to staff positions. This leads me to my second question. Do our current actions show that we as board members support the superintendent? Mr. Hughes expressed early on that Dr. Thomas is the educational leader of our district. She's our superintendent. If we are as a board are to perform the duties of the superintendent, then we don't need one if we're going to do it ourselves. The superintendent has been hired to run this entire district, every aspect of it. Because of this, it's not an easy task. She should be able to perform her duties without frequent, constant interference from us. We have trustees that are using micromanaging tactics to push their own personal agendas. This is unethical, very disappointing, and it needs to stop. This is why we have policies and procedures and practices in place. If and when we are not pleased with the superintendent's performance, we should handle this during the superintendent's yearly evaluation process. We shouldn't call for individual weekly meetings with the superintendent to discuss our displeasures. This impedes or hinders and disrupts the day-to-day operations of the superintendent's role and responsibilities. As school board trustees, should a fellow constituent or parent or staff member, each of us, come to us with a concern, we should indeed listen, show care and concern, but then give them the proper chain of command to follow to get this issue resolved, and normally at the lowest level. This change starts at the school level, talking to a child's teacher, the principal, contact the district office, and of course several individuals that can help them resolve this issue along the way, and then to the superintendent, and of course to us. But we are last in this process, so not first. Again, I'd like to urge each of you, myself included, to reflect on the oath of office you took, reflect over those 14 guiding principles, and let both the oath and the ethical principles guide our every action and decision as school board members. We do want what's best for all students. We want it now. If I had my druthers and I could wave a wand, it'll go away. But I have not had all the parents that people think contact us. Not one African-American parent has called me, talked to me. Yes, they've talked to me because some of them live on my road, where I live, and they've made an expression, but most of the parents we hear from have been basically the same ones over and over. But I want this to go away like everybody else. I think all of us want our school children back in school right now, but I want it to be done safely and as it should be. And I like her recommendation, and I'm all for putting it into a motion to happen. I know there are a lot of things that we don't know, a lot of unanswered questions, and it needs to be. But thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, Ms. Ware, thank you for that, but I didn't ask the people that called me or the people that emailed me what color their skin was.
I didn't ask them
So-
either. I know from their voices and their names and who they are, and some of them have basically said that. Some of them told me who they were, and that's fine too. I'm just telling you, I didn't have any African-American parents to contact me. None. But I got responses because I asked. I didn't go out to seek them. Hey, can I ask you a question? Sure, let me ask you a question.
Getting back to, earlier we were comparing our districts to other districts in the area, and I can speak for Clunham because I've been in pretty much constant contact with the Clunham board. And one advantage they have on us, and the reason from what I've been told by their chairman more than once, that they're going 5 days a week is because they're able to social distance all grades. From my understanding, when they initially formed their plan, there was one 5th grade class was the only class that they had any problems with. Last week, and I have not heard the figures. This was toward the first of last week, so this probably pertained the week before last. There's 81 districts in our state. 51 were in some type of hybrid. 15 were in face-to-face 5 days a week statewide. I just wanted to throw some facts out there. So, you know, there are differences, and I guess this is why they're letting us make the decisions versus doing it statewide. There's differences between districts, even as close as Lawrence and Clunnon, because they just have more square footage than we have.
My district wants us to be number 16 now. I didn't have to send out a survey. I got blowed up. Trust me.
So,
We need to vote tonight to go back to school 5 days a week.
We all got blowed up. That doesn't change anything.
Yeah, okay. Any other constructive
well, we're here to
discussion?
represent the parents. But, I mean, we're here to represent the people that put us in these
That's
seats.
right. That's what I'm doing.
And that's how we should all be voicing.
We are
How
here
we
to
vote.
represent
Well
them,
noted.
but we have
Well
to make,
noted, Ms. Little.
We supposed to get this?
No,
No.
I'm just
They
saying that
elected
we
us to
should-
make those
I'm
decisions.
just saying that we should,
Uh,
I'm just saying that we should be listening to what they're saying. And I feel like when we send out surveys and then don't make any changes, we're really not showing that we're listening.
well, we're making.
Well, I tell you
changes.
what, based on the recommendations of Dr. Thomas, I don't have it all written down as she
No, I think
presented
there
it.
needs to be more discussion.
Based on the recommendation made by Dr. Thomas,
The
I
ESOL
so
kids need to
move
be
that
in the
we
classroom.
go ahead with Dr. Thomas's recommendation as she presented it and make it gradual and to even work on ESOL, but basically on what she reported on and discussed as far as presenting it to us. I so move that we go forward with the plan that she had just a minute ago until it turns green as such. I was trying to write it down, but I didn't get it all in red phase. And then others, because it's a gradual process, and still looking out for the safety and well-being of all students and, you know, faculty, staff, and everybody therein.
Before I accept the motion and ask for a second, I would like to go around the room and give everybody a 2-minute chance to say anything they would like to say. And then, is there any other discussion? You would have 2 minutes.
I'll take 2 minutes.
Okay.
Susan, I hear you. Mike, I hear you. I've listened to the people that have contacted me, and they want 5 days a week, period. I understand that we're nervous about what's going on in the pandemic. I understand that we want to keep our students safe. Can we compromise? Can we have our K through 5th grade come in 5 days a week, and then add in your English language learners as well? If we get K through 5 in, K through 5th grade, that will at least take the burden off of the most of the parents that are struggling. I realize we're paying our teachers, this is their job, we need to listen to what they're saying too, but at the end of the day, some of these parents are losing jobs because they have to stay home to be able to work with their kids on e-learning. If we could get K through 5th back in and include the English language learners, special ed students, and then keep high school on hybrid for a little while longer. Because I know the high school's harder to handle, the way that they move around and the classroom size. But K through 5th with the English language learners, I really think that would help our parents tremendously. So that's it.
I'll
Thank
take
you,
my
Robbie.
2 minutes, sir. If we send here to do the will of the people that sends us here, I mean, is that not why we here? Am I confused? We're not smarter than they are. We don't have better ideas than they do. They sent us here to do what they tell us to do. Well, my people spoke loud and clear. They want to go back to school 5 days a week. And they want to go back now. They don't like the new normal. They like the old normal. If you open back up virtual, They will put their kid in virtual if they're not comfortable sending them 5 days a week. So open that sign-up period back up in case any parents has got cold feet, and then send the kids back 5 days a week. And let the parents decide. It ain't our decision. It's theirs.
Right.
Okay. Haven't heard that. If there's not any more.
Yeah, I do, yeah. You know, I hear that. There's 7 areas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You talking about yours, you talking about yours. It's 5 more that ain't hearing that. So we supposed to go with you too? And ignore
I heard
everybody
from a lot
else?
of
No,
people
let's
outside.
just vote.
Let him have
I
his
didn't talk when y'all were
time.
talking.
Nobody
Are we
interrupted.
supposed to miss that? I don't know one parent that has came to me and said they lost a job because of their kids going to school or not going to school. Not one. And I talk to people all the time. All the time. In fact, I talked to a guy this morning who happens to be a white guy walking down the street. I stopped him.
I keep hearing
And-
white and black. What?
It
difference
ain't
does
about
that
no
make?
black. It ain't about no black and white. I'm saying he lives in my community, and he commended me for what we're doing. Everybody don't agree with that.
But my district,
That's your district.
out
but
of
like-
all
but
the people that called me, one should have said different, but none of them did.
that may be, but none of us are clowning out to not believe what we're hearing and seeing. This stuff is real. We see these numbers. We see these numbers everywhere. If you want your child to go
30
back and
seconds.
get sick,
30 seconds.
if you want your child to go get sick, that's fine. Everybody don't want their child to go through that.
I understand it. Do virtual.
All right. Anyone else want 2 minutes?
You stole 90 seconds from me.
Okay. Now
Well,
let me.
I just want,
wanna-
I just want to say that, you know, I know that Kathy said this about me saying that I wanted them in there, and I do. I do want them in there 5 days a week. And, I can honestly say that out of the people that contacted us by email and stuff, there was only one person out of all those emails and stuff that I recognized as being from my area. And I mean, she voiced that she was from my area. I don't know if you got phone calls beyond what, well, I can't
Got some
imagine.
from your area.
Well, that's not your
Right.
area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't get, the people that I know and that I talk to, that I know put me in this seat, didn't call me and say, what you're doing is wrong. They called me and said, we know you're in a tough spot. And we know that you've been having to make a tough decision. And we hate that you're having to make this kind of decision. And we're trusting that you make.
All my people were very cordial too. I mean,
Okay,
not
they're saying,
one.
we trust that you're making the right decision. We understand that it's tough, and we understand that it's hard. I don't want to be in your seat. I don't want to be having to make the kind of decision that you're having to make right now. It's different when you're sitting here. It's easy to be sitting out there on the other side of that computer screen. It's easy to be sitting out there and saying, I want my kids back in there 5 days a week. But it's hard to sit right here and have to make that decision of thinking about 6,000 students that are going to walk into a building, and then you've got 800 staff members that are in there, that you've made a decision to put them all in a building together. That's on us. That's our decision, that we put them all in this building together. And then whatever happens from that, we got to live with.
All right.
If you open up
30.
virtual again, it's not our decision. The parents are gonna make the decision.
Right.
They're either
They
gonna
had
send
it.
them or they're gonna
No.
put them in virtual.
But they had that decision, Mike.
Now,
Because our choices that we gave them were virtual or 5 days.
5 days with 3 phases.
Now,
If they didn't read the plan, I mean,
one thing.
And when the plan, hold
we
on,
gave
Robin,
them
when
that
the,
with 3 phases.
yeah, and when the plan was presented, I'm sorry, we heard from nobody. The plan was posted. I made a copy. If anybody asked me, I gave it to them. The plan was there. Nobody said anything when the plan was presented, when it was out there for reading. Parents are the children's first teachers. They're their last teachers as well. And I feel that, you know, we need to make sure that our children, and as well, I've had faculty to come to me and say they like what we did, and they agreed with it. So I've had a lot of people to come and say, we appreciate what you're doing. Stay the course. You know, and like I said, I live and work and represent in Lawrence 55, no other district. I've talked to relatives, friends, people are all over the state, even with some upcoming things, everywhere. But we're in District 55, and we have to do what's best for our children and faculty and staff here. I want to put all of our children first, just because I want them safe. I want them alive and well.
And I
Thank
can
you.
honestly say as well that in my area, I think there was one person that, you know, she wants her kids back. I mean, I'm sure they all want them back, but nobody like called complaining. The people I talked to said that they were appreciative that we were, you know, taking their kids' health into consideration, as well as some of the staff that said the same thing.
Well, what
Okay,
kind of compromise can we come up with?
Well,
What-
that's where I'm trying to get a word in here. If Dr. Thomas.
You didn't say you wanted 2 minutes.
No, and I'll try to keep it under 2 minutes.
I'm
Oh,
just
Lord.
kidding.
Dr. Thomas's plan that she presented was bring K-5 and first grade back immediately. And she asked for the.
And all special ed.
The lead, and all special ed, and she asked for the leadway to bring grades 2 through 5 back in as social distancing could be achieved between now and the next meeting, special ed, career, and I think the ESO, the English-speaking folks would be at the top of that list also. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Thomas, I do have a question. What, if we can't socially distance our 2nd through 5th grade, or, 2nd through 5th grade now, how is that going to change? How are you going to make a determination to bring them back? I mean, the space is the space is the space, so how do you plan to change that to bring them back?
Yes, as
PPE.
stated earlier, we have purchased plexiglass. So we would have this for all of our students, and so that will allow additional protection so that we are able to have them back with that additional protection in those classrooms that we're not able to socially distance without the protection.
And do you have a time frame on that?
I do not. It has been ordered, so I do not know exactly when it will ship. During the pandemic, shipping has been delayed.
Delayed, yeah.
But hopefully, because this order was placed through the State Department, that it will be here sooner rather than later. So I will definitely keep everyone abreast as far as once we get shipping confirmation and once we receive the supplies on hand.
I think bringing in the plexiglass is wonderful. Go ahead and lay out a plan now. Do kindergarten and 1st grade next week. The week after that, add in 2nd, 3rd, then 4th and 5th. Keep high school hybrid for right now. But
That's what
keep-
she's saying she's
keep
gonna do
rolling
when she
them
gets
back
the
in.
plexiglass.
Well, I understand, but she said, at her leisure or her flexibility.
No, not
But
at
She didn't say her
at her
leisure.
She's saying that
flexibility.
she gets the
So-
stuff in.
But
You can't lay out a
Well,
plan.
I think we
if you
should
don't
lay
have
that
the
out at least all the
plexiglass.
way up to 5th grade. So
We
we
give
can
that.
have 5th, up through 5th
Right.
grade
Yes,
back
ma'am.
in.
That is the plan.
ASAP.
However, we do not have the plexiglass materials on hand, but once we have those items on hand, 2 through 5 is definitely a priority, as well as our EL students as well. So once we have those materials on hand to be able to bring them back safely with having that added protection, they're definitely a priority as far as focusing on those grade levels and those groups.
And once you get the materials in, how long is that of a process to kind of put that together to bring the students back in?
It's not a long process.
Like if you got them in one, like next week, then the following week, you could add another grade or,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Yes. So we'll continue to monitor and look at, again, our elementary students and our EL students and make those determinations based on, I'm not sure how it will ship. It could be in different quantities. So we will look at that and as we're making the determinations as to the next grade based on those priority levels that we have established. So again, you know, we all want our students back 5 days a week. That's something that I have said from the very beginning. That's what we know how to do best. We want all of our students in school. However, you know, we are in a global pandemic, and so the safety, health, and well-being of our staff and our students have to remain a priority. So that's why my recommendation is to bring in those grade levels that we are able to at this point to bring back in safely with following the recommendations and the guidelines as far as just being guided by the data and the science and the research and the recommendations that have been provided for us.
And when would that start, Dr. Thomas?
We will look at October the 12th for our 5K and first grade students because we do have to make some adjustments as far as moving classrooms in some cases, moving teachers as well, moving furniture. So just to give our administrators and teachers an opportunity to be able to make those adjustments, we would want to start on October the 12th.
And where would that, let's see, Montessori is first, second, third, so what would that do with that teacher? She would have her first graders all week and then just have her second, third graders?
They would continue hybrid.
Hybrid.
Correct.
All right. Anything new to say that we hadn't already said? Okay, we're ready for the motion.
She's already made the motion.
Motion's already on the floor, I'll accept it. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Carpenter seconded it. All right, discussion again. Any new discussion? You want to review the motion so everybody understands it? Or would you like to do it, Dr. Thomas?
Not review it, Miss Lisa, I don't know how she said it, but if you could get with Dr. Thomas for that motion like she presented in her recommendation. Sir, if you, ma'am, if you got it, that'd be great.
Yeah, if you can do it briefly.
Got a nose.
And I don't mind repeating it if you would like for me to.
I would rather,
Okay.
while we're in the meeting, I would rather have it specifically
Absolutely.
for the minute.
So it's my recommendation to remain in the hybrid learning phase unless we move to the green low-risk category, and then all students would attend 5 days a week face-to-face. Also, the recommendation is to follow the DHEC guidance for the flu outbreak that is currently in place that we use across the state and in our district to also be used for COVID. And that would be if we have 20% of the classroom or group who are positive, then the classroom or group would shut down. Students would transition to e-learning for 2 weeks. At the end of those 2 weeks, the classroom or group would be able to return. In addition to that, if 10% of the school population are positive with COVID, this includes our students and our staff, then the school building would close. All students and staff in the school will transition to e-learning for 2 weeks. And at the end of the 2 weeks, the district or school will re-examine positive COVID cases for the school. If the cases are still above 10%, the school will continue e-learning and be reevaluated every 2 weeks. If the cases are below 10%, the school population would return. And so the recommendation is to bring our 5K and first grade students back face-to-face 5 days a week. These are the 2 groups that we're currently able to do so and actually practice the social distance that has been recommended by DHEC and CDC. So the recommendation would be to bring the 5K and first grade students back face-to-face 5 days a week. And then we will continue to monitor. We have purchased plexiglass from the state, and we will continue, once we receive that, we will phase in additional grade levels as well.
And this would begin October 12th.
Yes, ma'am. It will begin October the 12th.
Dr. Thomas, would you be comfortable putting some sort of time frame on how you could roll that in, like if you felt like you could do that by November 12th? You know, how quickly do you think that could happen?
It is definitely my goal to be able to do it as quickly as possible, still making sure we are focusing on the safety. So as far as the time limit, again, I do not know. I think probably definitely once I get more information as far as shipping of the PPE, plexiglass that we've purchased, I will have a better timeline that I could do. But the flexibility between now and the next board meeting, I would definitely like to be able to add additional grade levels with the hope that we will receive some of the items ordered. So that was the request for my flexibility in being able to phase in additional grade levels between today and the next board meeting, with the fact that we may receive some of the plexiglass between that time.
Okay, that's clarification on the motion that was made. Any other discussion? Questions?
Huh?
There's nothing about e-learning.
No.
All right, with a motion and a second on the floor, we'll take a vote. All in favor, everybody in favor, show of hands. Opposed, likewise. The ayes have it. All right, moving along. Our voting delegation certification for the South Carolina School Board Delegate Assembly in December. We need to nominate someone tonight to represent us.
And I don't have anybody registered as of yet to participate, so.
Do we have any volunteers? Barbara?
No, Kathy, you don't want to do it?
I'll do it. I think
right.
Somebody
Barbara
knew.
told me I had to do it last
Yeah,
time.
I
All
did.
right, do we have a motion from Ms. Little? And second?
I just suggest, yeah.
A second.
All in favor, show of hands, aye. Ayes have it, Ms. Little's our delegate.
Thank you.
The next thing,
I do it every year. You don't like it, though,
I
you know.
wanna do,
I would like to ask also in the form ask for an alternate to also be designated in the event that the assigned to.
With Susan, would you-
Yeah.
I think I'm going.
And what's the date of it?
Ms. Beeks volunteered.
It's the 4th, December 4th.
First Friday.
It is that Saturday, and it's gonna be, in person, it's in
Columbia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the only way the alternate will be able to be admitted
Oh.
is
Right.
If I win.
All right, we have a volunteer, Ms. Beeks as the
If I'm
alternate. Do I
still
hear a
here.
motion?
We'll see.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, show of hands, ayes have it.
One other question.
Anthony.
Anthony.
One other question. Do we need a motion to give her the right? We have 2 votes, right? Two
Well,
votes,
by
both
appointing her,
parties.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, we never have done that
Yes,
in the
we
past.
have.
Have we?
yeah.
But normally, the voting delegate can do
They
the vote.
usually would allow two people
I think it's
to
because
go,
of
Yeah.
COVID.
but
They
because
won't
of
allow
the
it now.
situation,
I know, but that's why she need the proxy to vote too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll get to.
the person that you all, Ms. Little.
Well, just to cover it, do you wanna make a motion that Kathy has
You can
a,
only send one person.
Right.
But they get both votes.
Lisa just said that you only send one person and they get both votes.
right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's the way it's
Oh,
been
it's
the
always
last
been that
8 or
way,
10
yeah.
years. Only
It
one
hasn't
that
been
went.
It ain't been like that.
All right, moving along is reopening our meetings. The state told us how to shut them down, but they didn't tell us how to open them back up. So what I want to do is form a committee to come back before us at the next month's meeting and make a recommendation and of how we should proceed. And this committee will be made up of Ms. Ware, Ms. Martin, and Mr. Hughes. And y'all's charge is to come back with recommendation or recommendations of how
And-
we should proceed forward as far as public, opening our meetings back to the public.
So that's for everybody, media and everybody included.
Right.
and is
It-
this for, so the recommendation would be made at the next meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
And it, just so everybody knows exactly what policy is, and I have a copy, but the three of y'all on the committee definitely need a copy. The policy is BEDH. BEDH. All right.
Mr. Chair, I actually would like to make a motion that we just open our meetings back up to the public for the next board meeting. And if we need to do that to be able, if we need to move our venue so we can socially distance, go to the junior high, go to the lecture theater, whatever we need to do that everybody's comfortable with. But I definitely think we should just go ahead and open them back up. We have children in our buildings. Dr. Thomas is willing to put the kindergartens and the first graders back in the buildings. I think we should just open them up.
And that'll be the exact job of this committee to report that back to us, because there are options, just like
So
you
you're not
said.
going to accept my motion?
Let me ask you if I can.
Why are you looking to Mr. Murray?
It's not
Not on the
agenda.
agenda. Under board reopening.
You should be able to make a motion at any time.
Well.
I mean, it's about this topic.
But it's not on the agenda for action.
action has to
And it
be on
is kind of a complicated issue. It's a little more, we have several different opinions at our table. And that's what this committee's job is to put together the response back to the board, and then the board will take their recommendations at the next meeting. All right, Mr. Lawless?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll try to make this smooth and quick.
Thank you.
Our balance on hand, Mr. Treasurer, as of August 31st was $7,631,803. Our revenues for the 2 months of the fiscal year through that date were $5,065,897, with expenses during that same period of $3,708, $708,009, for a difference of $1,357,888. I think you'll notice that the revenues were quite similar to the prior year, but we have spent less during the 2 months of the year thus far. Our total tax collections for the period, $305,240. In addition, well, does anyone have any questions about that first? Okay. I did want to kind of give just a little bit of an update. In the last few months, we have had you guys signing resolutions regarding our general obligation bond. That did close on September 3rd without issue. So those funds are on hand and available for making the lead debt payment, as well as for capital purposes for this fiscal year. Also, the tax anticipation note resolution that was passed last month, that is anticipated to close tomorrow. The district has opened our own local government investment pool account where those funds will be housed, and hopefully will sit until such time as they're paid back without actually having to use them, but they will be there if they are needed during the winter. And additionally, last week the state legislature adjourned without passing a budget. The Senate had passed a version of the budget. The House chose to not consider that budget, instead referred back to the Ways and Means Committee, which killed it. So from what I have read in comments today, the House is saying that provided the economy does not collapse between now and the month of January, when they return to regular session, that they will take the budget back up at that time. What that means for our teachers and employees was the step increase that we were hoping to provide them in September, or after the September budget was passed, is further delayed. And we're hopeful that that will be provided for when the House and the Senate resume in January. We will have to see at that time, but at this point, our pay rates are still frozen at last year's levels. Wow. Anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last thing on the agenda is a motion.
Question for
Yeah.
you, to Dr. Thomas. Mr. Murray, whoever, who does the upkeep on the property that we purchased up there next to Ford?
That would be Dr. Harris's.
Can-
I can definitely get that information for you.
Can we look at, can we look at it looking rough? It's just growing up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Motion.
Not limited insight into that. The goal is to have that property added on to the maintenance plan for Ford. I believe we're able to get it cut, but there are some, at that time, there were some hoses and things pulled around for irrigation that did not allow them to get the mowers in there. But that will be added to the Ford maintenance contract. It'll be maintained in the same manner by the same people that are doing the school property.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I hear a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Mr. Carpenter, who's second?
Second.
Ms. Martin, seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Ayes have it.
Bye.